Hello and a very good evening. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. This is Verdict 2013. I'm Frank Pereira. Here are the latest headlines. Campaigning for Rajasthan Assembly polls comes to an end. State gears up for elections on December 1st. Congress moves Election Commission against Narendra Modi over poll code violation, demands action against him. Poll panel warns political parties over use of derogatory and abusive language during campaigns, threatens strict action. And first up on Verdict 2013, campaigning in Rajasthan for the December 1st Assembly elections came to an end today at 5 p.m. All eyes are now on the voting on Sunday when the state's electorate will decide the fate of 2,153 candidates, including big names like Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, State BJP Chief Vasundhara Raje, Speaker Deependra Singh Shekhawat, Congress State Chief Chandraban and NCW Chairperson Mamta Sharma. Around 4 crore voters will decide who will get the majority in a 200-member assembly. Congress and the opposition BJP have fielded candidates in all 200 constituencies, whereas the BSP is fighting in 197 seats and National People's Party in 142. 896 independents are also contesting in these polls. Well, our correspondent Vishal Dahiya caught up with Rajasthan's Chief Electoral Officer Ashok Jain ahead of the December 1st polls. He explained the preparations of the Election Commission for the voting.
The whole period of campaigning has gone very peacefully, and all people, all political parties, all candidates have cooperated very well with us.
What about in terms of complaints like paid news or maybe recovery of money or liquor? Too much incidents?
Not too many, but whatever incidents came to our notice, we took action against them. Paid news cases have also been detected and also been finalized in some cases.
Can you give us a little brief about as to how many polling booths are there, how many sensitive, what are the arrangements at polling booths?
In Rajasthan, there are 200 assembly constituencies and there are 47,233 polling stations, and number of voters has gone up to now 4 crore and 7 lakhs general voters, excluding the service voters. They will be eligible to vote at the polling stations on 1st December. And we have deployed around 4 lakh and 12,000 personnel for conducting the election.
Any special arrangements for handicapped people such as blind or those who cannot walk themselves to the polling booth?
As per the instructions of the Election Commission of India, we have made arrangements for ramps at all polling stations for the infirm people. The people who cannot see are blind. They will be they have been facilitated with a braille printed ballot paper, which will be available at all polling stations.
We've seen that in the past few days there has been a sustained extensive campaign by the Election Commission for voter awareness.
We have actually carried out our systematic voter education program in a targeted manner. We have targeted various segments of voters and various aspects of voting.
Well, our correspondent Vishal Dahiya joins us for more from Jaipur right now. D-Day is fast approaching, Vishal, and of course the Election Commission has a big task on its hand. But what are the main challenges really that the Election Commission is going to face in the few coming days?
Well, not many, Frank, if you look at the situation in this particular state, apart from the fact that, yes, there are almost 10,000 polling stations which have been pointed out as sensitive by the Election Commission based on several inputs coming in from the police or the administration, and they are in several categories. But then due care has been taken by the Election Commission and the police forces out here to ensure that everything goes smooth at these polling stations which are being termed sensitive. That is why there are specific measures which have been taken. For example, no one will be allowed within the 100 meter of the polling station with a cell phone apart from those who are authorized. Obviously, the Election Commission official seems to be taking nothing a chance now, considering the fact that the entire campaigning period has been really peaceful out here. No untoward incident. Yes, there were reports of of money and liquor being seized, as the chief electoral officer was saying. But then, apart from that, nothing untoward has happened, and that's what the election officials seem to be, trying to ensure out there, that the situation remains the same way for the next 48 hours, specifically starting from 8 a.m. in the morning on 1st of December till 5 p.m. in the evening.
All right, do stay with us, Vishal. Let's look at another aspect of the story. Now, being a border state with Pakistan, security will be one major concern of the Election Commission ahead of voting in Rajasthan. Our correspondent Vishal Dahiya spoke to the Additional Director General of Police, Navdeep Singh, about security arrangements in the state for the elections, and this is what he had to say.
We have ensured multiple level of security at the booth, around the booth, and with the patrolling parties and various kind of supervisory officers moving around in wireless fitted vehicles, and also with various kind of striking reserves available with them to negate any possibility of influencing the voter adversely and intervening into free, fair and peaceful polling.
How many security personnel are on the job, and in addition to that, how much a number of paramilitary forces have you asked from the centre and they've been deployed?
In all, I have deployed something like 1,25,000 police personnel, in which around 40,000, that is around 511 plus paramilitary forces companies are also deployed. My forces include specialized units for maintenance of law and order, like our Rajasthan Armed Constabulary, specialized unit to investigate from crime branch, specialized units to keep watch from the intelligence forces, and also around 300 supervisory officers I have inducted specially from the headquarters to assist the district level police forces.
There are a number of sensitive booths as per the Election Commission information. What exactly is the special security arrangement as at these sensitive and hypersensitive booths?
You see, at the sensitive booths, there is one more man extra. More sensitivity, there are the paramilitary forces which are armed at every booth. There are certain districts which are in the eastern Rajasthan, as per the directions of the Election Commission of India. We have made 100% deployment of central paramilitary forces on all the booths there, apart from inducting more supervisory officers there.
Vishal, coming back to you right now, of course, no stone seems to be unturned as far as security arrangements in the state are concerned, and the police personnel there, of course, the highest police personnel in the state that you just spoke to, in fact, came out and said that security is watertight in Rajasthan and there is nothing to worry about.
Sensitive and hypersensitive, the polling booths, and as the ADGP was also pointing out, no chance is being taken by the administration out here. So, in those polling stations which are going to be hypersensitive in eastern Rajasthan, that is those districts which are bordering Pakistan, in those particular areas, the polling stations will be manned by only personnel from the CPMFs, the Central Paramilitary Forces. So a clear indication that nothing will be allowed to go ahead and disrupt the process of free and fair polling when it begins at 8 a.m. on 1st of December.
All right, Vishal Dahiya, we'll have to leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us there with all those details and bringing us up to date with the latest with what's happening on the ground there in Rajasthan. Meanwhile, the Congress has moved the Election Commission once again against the BJP's Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi. The party has demanded stern action against Modi over his remarks at a recent political campaign in Rajasthan. The party has also sought action against two other BJP leaders, including Vasundhara Raje. Modi has already been served a notice of a model code violation by the Election Commission. The Election Commission has disapproved Narendra Modi's controversial remark against Congress during poll campaign in Chhattisgarh and asked him to be more careful in his public discourse in the future. And taking serious note of the language used by several politicians during the ongoing assembly polls in 5 states, the Election Commission has put all parties on notice. The Election Commission expressed serious concern and deep anguish at the progressively plummeting levels of political discourse witnessed during campaigns in all the 5 states. The Commission said that the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression is not absolute. The poll panel cited petitions of Congress and BJP to it that sought derecognition of the opposite party. The panel said that the gravity of the situation can be gauged from such complaints. It warned of further action in case such violations continue. Well, with only a few days to go for Delhi polls, the Election Commission's surveillance team has seized over 1 crore rupees in cash from the capital. Almost 3,000 litres of liquor has also been seized till date in the poll-bound national capital. A total of 47,859 persons have been booked against whom preventive action was taken. 846 people have been bound down by the police to maintain calm and peace ahead of the polls. For violating the Model Code of Conduct violation, 373 cases have been lodged against various political parties and independent candidates. Aam Aadmi Party tops the list with 104 FIRs registered against the party, followed by the BJP with 81 and the Congress with 73. More than 1,500 licensed arms were deposited and 66 unlicensed arms and 94 cartridges were seized by the poll body officials. Meanwhile, the Madhya Pradesh Congress has written to the Election Commission demanding an inquiry into the possibilities of electronic voting machines being rigged. Now, before voters for the assembly elections are counted on December 8th. The state Congress said that the party has received a total of 42 complaints about malfunctioning of EVMs. The party said that complaints about malfunctioning EVMs had been received from many places, including Surki, Bhopal and Panna. The party also said that the same EVMs would soon be used again in the Lok Sabha polls and added that some steps need to be taken to restore the credibility of EVMs. Well, it's time for a short break now, but we'll be right back to stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, Sardarpura constituency in Rajasthan will be one of the closely watched contests in these elections. The incumbent Chief Minister of the state, Ashok Gehlot, will seek a re-election from this very seat. Now, while it's widely believed that victory for Gehlot is just a foregone conclusion, the Chief Minister is not taking any chances.
Sardarpura will walk into history books if the Congress manages to form the next government in Rajasthan. Victory for Ashok Gehlot in December 4 polls could mean that this constituency will elect the Chief Minister of the state twice in a row. All other issues have been overshadowed by this possibility, making the Gehlot camp confident. Challenging Gehlot will be BJP candidate Shambhu Singh Khetsar. With the backing of around 28,000 Rajput votes, Khetsar feels he can stop Gehlot's dream run here. Support from Hemlata Raje, a former member of the royal family, has brightened Khetsar's chances. Sardarpura has a population of around 37 lakh, out of which 20 lakh people will be casting their ballot. There are around 9 lakh women voters and 10.5 lakh male voters in Sardarpura. This constituency saw a turnout of 55% in the last elections. Ashok Gehlot has won 3 times in a row from this constituency. Previously, he was elected as an MP from Jodhpur in 1980. Since then, he was elected to the Lok Sabha 5 times in a row from Jodhpur. This time too, Gehlot seems to be the favourite to win Sardarpura. But Khetsa will be no pushover. After a good show as an independent candidate at the Osian constituency in the previous elections, Khetsa is expected to put up a stiff challenge for Gehlot. With Arfa Khanum in Sardarpura, Bureau Inputs, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Sri Ganganagar is one of the developed districts of Rajasthan. Political parties in the region are trying to woo voters on the basis of development. Now, let us look at what are the issues that are likely to dominate these elections.
Sri Ganganagar is located in North Rajasthan bordering Punjab. The region is prosperous and is well developed in agriculture and industrial sector. Basic infrastructures like road, water, electricity are also good. The political parties are busy to take the credit for the development. Sri Ganganagar district has 6 assembly seats. In 2008, Congress won from Sadulpur, Karanpur, Suratgarh and Raisinghpur, while Ganganagar seat went to BJP and Anupgarh seat was won by a CPM candidate. BJP and Congress are expected to retain their rivalry in the region, but they might face a challenge from the newly formed Zamindara party, who has fielded candidates from all the 6 assembly seats. Despite being a developed region, the issue of education and employment in Sri Ganganagar are being constantly raised as the election approaches near. With Pranav Goswami in Sri Ganganagar for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the political match in Osian constituency of Jaupal district promises to be an interesting one. Wife of Mahipal Maderna, who is facing jail term over Bhavri Devi's murder, will contest from this seat. BJP hopes to bank on lack of development work done here by the Congress during its tenure.
Situated along the highway of Jodhpur and Bikaner, this is Rajasthan's Osian constituency. This ancient city has many tourist attractions including temples and colourful Rajasthani culture. Mahipal Maderna is one of the strong political figures in this constituency. He is currently serving jail term over the murder of Bhavri Devi. In his absence, Congress has given ticket to his wife Leela Maderna. She feels her husband is a victim of conspiracy. However, BJP does not feel the murder case or Mahipal Maderna will have any effect on the elections. Party's candidate Bhimram Chaudhary feels there are issues that need to be dealt with. There are around 2 lakh voters in this area. The number of female voters is around 95,000 while male voters are slightly over a lakh.
विकास तो इतना नहीं है, नॉर्मल है, इतना नहीं है विकास.
क्या कमी है?
हर चीज़ की कमी है, रोड की कमी है.
रोजगार यहाँ पर कुछ नहीं, इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया है और मजदूरी करते हैं और ज़्यादातर गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कोई सुविधा नहीं है हमारे.
Unemployment, inflation and lack of infrastructure are some of the main issues in Osian constituency. But many feel that caste-dominated local politics may favour Maderna. Arfa Khanum, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, being a border state with Pakistan, Rajasthan has turned home for several Pak migrants, mostly from Hindu families. They had migrated long ago to the desert state in search of better livelihoods. But despite long years of stay, they still do not have any identity or the right to vote. Let's take a look at this report.
एक महीना कोई नहीं मिला है, बाटा होगा बचाना खड़ा बस.
तो क्या चाहती हो, तुम्हें क्या मिलना चाहिए?
बस जगह दे दो.
Having migrated to India from Pakistan to escape prosecution, the woes of this woman are far from over. She crossed over to India for a better life, but is now surviving on daily wages, working as a labourer in Rajasthan.
यहाँ आने के बाद जो हमको तकलीफें झेलनी पड़ती वो तो हमको ही मालूम है. बहुत सी तकलीफें, हम रहने के लिए कोई झोपड़ी नहीं है, कोई प्लाट नहीं है, कोई मकान नहीं है.
Kako is one among the thousands of Pakistani Hindus who came to India years ago on tourist visas and now refuse to return to Pakistan due to hostile environment there. As per statistics, nearly 2 lakh Pakistani Hindus have come to Rajasthan, mostly after the 1965 and 1971 wars between India and Pakistan. They are now awaiting Indian citizenship.
Recent migrants जो कि post 90 की जो 20,000 आए हैं, तो उसमें से बहुत सारे ऐसे हैं जो कि समाज के निचले तबके से हैं, जैसे अनुसूचित जाति के हैं, जनजाति के हैं, ओबीसी के हैं. तो उनको सर्टिफिकेट की दरकार रहती है, उनको यहाँ का मूल निवास की दरकार रहती है, ताकि उनके जो गवर्नमेंट की सोशल सिक्योरिटी की जो स्कीम्स हैं उसका हिस्सा बन सकें।
There has been mass exodus of Pakistani Hindus to India in the last decade, following complaints of forced conversions, abduction of Hindu girls and destruction of religious places. But life is not easy for these migrants in India with no identity. They even find it difficult to find work due to lack of any identity proof.
जो मुद्दे हैं जिससे कि उनकी यहाँ कम से कम एक खुशगवार ज़िंदगी बन सकती है, वो इसलिए भी इनके मुद्दे अनसुलझे रह जाते हैं कि एक तो पॉलिसी नहीं है भारत सरकार की कोई भी।
As per the central government guidelines, migrants who have been living in the country for more than 7 years are eligible to apply for citizenship. The applications after proper screening are then forwarded to the Home Ministry. In want of any identity, over 7,000 migrants living in Jodhpur have applied for citizenship this year.
To save their life and honor, Pakistani Hindus have been migrating to India. But when they finally come to India, it can hardly be called a life of dignity. They don't have a house to live, most of them are unemployed, children don't go to school, they don't even have drinking water. And it is very unlikely that the issue will become an electoral issue. From Jodhpur, Arfa Khanam Sherwani for Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, this year's assembly elections in 3 states have seen record voter turnouts in most areas. Even in Maoist-affected Chhattisgarh, voters came out in large numbers. The picture is not so bright when one travels to Dhaulpur in Rajasthan, the next state to go to assembly polls in 2 days. Turnout here dropped below 40% in 2009 Lok Sabha polls. This time around, though, the place is preparing for a world record in voting. Here's a special report from Rajasthan.
Dhaulpur district shares around 200 kilometers of border with Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. The district has been previously represented by Bhairav Singh Shekhawat and Vasundhara Raje. Being in Chaupal Valley, the region constantly faces the menace of dacoits. They are also known for influencing the elections. But this time, a unique approach is being followed to create awareness. 99% of first-time voters are registered in the voting list. What is unique is a 100-kilometer long letter on which the residents are appealing for high voter turnout and giving their suggestions. The campaign is also being actively promoted on social media, along with many organizations promoting it on the ground.
धौलपुर में 100 किलोमीटर के कागज पर मतदाता अपने सुझाव लिख रहे, विचार लिख रहे या क्या सुधार होने चाहिए वो लिख रहे। ये हमारा कैंपेन बड़ी जो है तीव्र गति से चल रहा है और बड़ा लोकप्रिय हो रहा है।
Administration is paying special attention to the areas which had seen low turnout earlier. They are creating awareness through mobile phones. Around 2.5 lakh school students have pledged to get their parents to vote.
जागरूकता अभियान का मैं काफ़ी समय से देख रही हूँ कि अखबार के माध्यम से या और जो स्लोगन वगैरह पोस्टर वगैरह हो रहे हैं बहुत ही अच्छा हो रहा है। इससे सोई हुई जनता जागृत होगी।
आज ढाणी ढाणी में गांव-गांव में शहरों शहरों में इस जो जागरूकता अभियान चल रहा है इसका बहुत अच्छा असर जा रहा है।
Administration is hopeful to see around 85% turnout in these elections. The roads in Baseri village are in bad condition and stone mining in Bari is also suffering. Law and order problem is also a major concern of people here. With cameraman Manoj, Arvind Kumar Singh, Rajya Sabha TV.
That's it on this edition of Verdict 2013. Thank you so much for watching.